She received a letter from her dead husband every day. A year later, she learned the truth. The first letter came exactly 7 days after the funeral. Emily was sitting at the kitchen table, the same one where she and Daniel had shared hundreds of morning coffees, when the mail slot clinked open. She wasn't expecting anything, but when she picked up the envelope from the floor, her hands froze. It was addressed to her, in Daniel's handwriting. Her first instinct was denial. Someone was playing a sick joke, but the way he wrote her name, only he curled the Y like that. Her fingers trembled as she opened the envelope. Inside was a single piece of paper. It said, "If you're reading this, it means I'm already gone. But I'm not done loving you. Not yet." That was all. No signature, no date, no explanation. Emily dropped the letter like it burned her fingers. She stood there, heart pounding, staring at it as if it might vanish. But it didn't. It was real, and it was just the beginning. The next day, there was another envelope, same handwriting, same smell. Daniel always used cedarwood-scented paper. She tore it open. "Do you remember that night in Florence? The wine, the stars, how we danced in the rain? I've never told you this, but that was the night I decided I'd love you for the rest of my life, and beyond." Every letter was like that. A memory, a moment, a whisper from beyond the grave. At first, she thought it was part of something he'd planned before his death. Maybe a set of letters he left with a friend to deliver. But who would go this far? Who could know so much? And they kept coming. One every day, always at the same time, 9:47 a.m. She stopped going out in the mornings. She'd sit by the front door, waiting. Like clockwork, the letter would appear. She never saw who delivered it. Weeks passed. Then months. Some letters made her laugh, others made her sob into the pages. They weren't generic. They referenced things only he could know. Private jokes, half-formed conversations, thoughts she never spoke aloud. She started writing back. Not because she thought he could read them, but because it felt like talking to him. The letters became a lifeline, something to hold on to in the storm of grief. One day, in late autumn, the letter was different. "I need to tell you something I never had the courage to say." Her hands trembled. "I wasn't entirely honest with you about my past. There's someone you should meet. She deserves to know the truth, too. Her name is Claire. She lives on Ashcroft Street, apartment 3C. Emily stared at the letter for a long time. Claire? Who was she? A lover? A secret daughter? That night, Emily didn't sleep. The next morning, she stood in front of 3C, heart thundering. A young woman answered the door. She looked familiar. Too familiar. Claire was 23. She had Daniel's eyes. They talked. For hours. Daniel had met Claire's mother long before he met Emily. A brief, passionate affair when he was 20. He never knew she was pregnant. Claire had only recently learned her father's name, and then that he had died. But she too had received a letter. Only one. "If you ever want to know who your father was, find Emily. She knows my heart better than anyone." Emily cried with Claire that day, not out of betrayal, but from something deeper. The strange, painful beauty of love that refused to end at death. The next letter said, "Thank you for finding her, for understanding. There's more I need to say about the accident. The accident. Daniel had died in a car crash, or so they told her, but she'd never seen the car. Never got a full report, just ashes." Now, the words on the paper made her heart stop. It wasn't an accident. I knew what I was doing. The following letters unraveled everything she thought she knew. Daniel had been sick, terminally ill. He found out 8 months before his death and decided not to tell her. To protect her, he wrote, but he couldn't bear the thought of fading away in a hospital bed. So he made a choice. A planned death. One last drive. One last moment of control. Emily screamed when she read that letter. She tore it apart, cursed him, then cried until her voice broke. But the next day, the letter still came. "I'm sorry for the silence, for the pain, but I needed you to remember me alive, not dying." A year passed, 365 letters. each a thread in a tapestry of love, guilt, memory, and mystery. She kept them in a wooden box he had once carved for her. She read them when she felt lost. When the world felt too heavy, then they stopped. No letter on day 366. She waited all morning, all day, nothing. A week passed. Silence. It felt like losing him all over again, until one final envelope arrived. A different color. No handwriting, just her name printed. Inside, a key and a note. "You're ready. Go to the place where we began." Her heart stopped. Their beginning? Florence? But then she remembered. Their first real moment wasn't in Italy. It was simpler, quieter. The little cabin by the lake where they first said, "I love you." She drove there that night. The cabin had been abandoned for years, dusty, cold, but her key fit the door. Inside, on the table, was a single letter. "You made it. This is the last one. I know it's selfish, but I wanted one final goodbye. In the place where everything started, where I first saw you dance barefoot in the kitchen and knew this was home. I love you, Emily. In life, in death, and whatever comes after. And if souls can wait, I'll wait for you." Her hands shook. She held the letter to her chest. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, and for the first time in a year, Emily smiled. Because even though the letters had stopped, the love had not. It never would. End of story. Title: Ideas for YouTube thumbnail. Letters from the dead. The truth she discovered after a year. He died, but wrote her every day for a year. She thought he was gone forever. Then the letters came.